Hello everyone, today we are breaking down Season 3, Episode 7, Ham Radio of Monster, the Ed Gein Story. But before that, remember to like the video, helps out the channel a lot, and subscribe, and yada yada yada, let's get to it. The first thing we see is Frank drinking some alcohol before heading into the police station. Frank is the son of Bernice, who Ed murdered. Frank discovered her body last episode, and he is taking it quite hard, which is understandable. Art, the sheriff, wants to speak with him. Frank and some of the other victims are suing Ed Gein for damages, so for him digging up people and killing their loved ones. Since Ed has no money, they are auctioning off the property and everything that is there. So the house, the things inside, the vehicle, all that jazz. We also find out Ed cannot stand trial because he is too crazy, so he is in a mental hospital, which Frank is not happy about. He wants some sort of justice for his mother. So this was really the only thing he can think of to stick it to Ed Gein. Art does not think it's a good idea, but Frank doesn't really give a damn. We are at Ed Gein's farm, and there is a lot of people there looking at the stuff. People have a morbid curiosity with things like this. So of course people are going to take a look around. This is where all the crazy crap happened. Frank is charging 50 cents just to enter the house, which was thought about in real life. Somebody wanted to buy the property and turn it into an attraction, so you can tour the house and whatnot. Frank is promoting the auction some more in town when he sees a fire truck head out towards the Gein farm. It turns out the house started on fire and it burned all the way down to the foundation. So all the stuff he was looking to sell is destroyed. But the car is still available, and the land, so you may be able to still make a few bucks. Adeline is actually the one in charge of the bidding, randomly enough. She wants and likes the attention. Frank looks super sad here, like he doesn't know what to do. I think he was hoping for some kind of closure from this, but it's not bringing any. We're now with Ed in the mental hospital, and he is having the time of his life. Doing some leather work. Ed always had a talent working with skins. He's also teaching a class on how to make a homemade rug, though he would like to be doing his old hobby instead. He found it more enjoyable. Ed is in his room when the head nurse, Salty, comes in. She has money from the auction. She says a lot of it went to the families of the victims, but there was still a lot left. He got $300 from it. And Salty says for $50 she will get him whatever he wants with the rest of the money. Ed agrees and pulls out a Sears catalog. He wants 3 ham radios and a bra and panties. Salty agrees. She then asks if Ed would be willing to lock up for her. She wants to leave early. He says yeah, he can do that. Which is wild, especially with his history, but that's the thing with Ed. He just seems relatively harmless. We're now with Ilsa. She gets a present and a note from Ed, stating how he wants to talk with her. He sent her one of those ham radios so he can do so. This is a hallucination. This is in Ed's mind. This never happened. Ed has schizophrenia, which I have discussed many times in previous videos. The two start talking with one another. Ed is also wearing a bra right now as well. Ed tells her how much he admires her and her work, that she was the inspiration for a lot of things he did with human skin. She talks about it and says what she did to the Jews was necessary, that they were destroying her country, and that the media has made her out to be some kind of monster. That she never made a lamp from human skin or a nipple belt. Ed tells her he actually did that. And then she says he is very sick. But we don't see her. We see a doctor, or more likely a psychiatrist, telling him that, but with her voice. So this is a hallucination. But I think it's also a coping thing. Like, Ed can't deal with the doctor telling him these things, so he's making up a scenario with his hero, Elsa, telling it to him, which maybe helps it get through to him a little bit. But that's the hard part with these hallucinations. What is the doctor telling him, and what is he making up in his head? Because then we have a scene of Ilsa telling Ed how kind and how sensitive he is, which I doubt the psychiatrist would say. Once again, I think this is just a coping thing, to get some positive affirmation. She asks Ed about the murders, but once again we see the psychiatrist's face. Ed says he does not remember any of them. Then once again, Ilsa makes a positive statement about Ed, that she and him are victims. So in a lot of ways, this whole thing is to deal with what the psychiatrist is saying, but to also spin it in a way that makes Ed feel good. we are now with Ed in his full getup, listening and dancing to a song from that trans person, Christine Jorgensen, who he is obsessed with. She did record some songs actually, which I did not realize. Salty opens the door and catches Ed mid-dance, and tells him it is time for bed. Ed has another hallucination, this time speaking with Christine over the ham radio. So once again, somebody who he admired. He wants to speak with her about being a trans person. So when the doctor talked to Ed about all the murders and making things from skins, he talked to Elsa, who greatly influenced him on that. So now the psychiatrist is talking to him about the wearing of skins and the wearing of women's clothing. He's talking to Christine, who influenced some of that. Ed then tells her about feeling disconnected from his wiener. That his mother walked in on him once when he was younger, whacking it, and she yelled at him, saying he should never play with it. Ed says from that time on, he's always kind of wanted to get rid of it, but that feeling never persisted. He says it does feel good when you do play with it. So the psychiatrist, as Christine, asks him straight up, what makes you think you are a transsexual? Ed tells her a story of wearing his complete women's skin suit and how he would dance around in it and how it would make him feel good. And this scene is very disturbing, but also slightly magical. Insanely creepy, but Ed's got the moves. We get another cameo from a famous horror character Ed inspired, Buffalo Bill, from The Silence of the Lambs. Don't understand why they needed this cameo, but okay. Christine hears all of this and tells Ed that he's not a transsexual. That Ed does not want to be a woman. Ed is a gynophiliac. That he so eroticizes the female body that he wishes to put it on, to be inside it. It is violent. It is the ultimate way to penetrate a woman. And he mainly does this because the traditional fashion of banging was forbidden by his mother. So basically, it all goes back to his mother. His mother really ingrained these thoughts of women being evil and how he should never bang one into him at such a young age that it is no wonder why he has this obsession. It is later and Ed is meeting the new head nurse, Roz. Salty, the previous head nurse, was demoted. She was running things a little too loose, which we kinda saw. Ed is going to have a much harder time of it now. No more getting to do basically what he wants. Ed is in his room where he hears a voice that says, "Kill them all," coming from the ceiling. We then see that Salty is in his room and gives him the keys to get out, so he can stretch his legs at night. He sneaks out of his room and grabs a chainsaw. He then waits for Nurse Roz in the bathroom where he murders her. Ed cleans up and goes to bed, quite pleased with himself now things can go back to normal. Ed wakes up the next morning and heads out, and lo and behold, Roz is not dead. Ed was having a hallucination. Ed breaks down in the hallway, confused and scared. The psychiatrist Ed has been talking to sees Ed and invites him into his office. He tells Ed about what is happening to him and also reveals that he's been talking to himself on those ham radios. It's not even plugged in. A nurse saw him do both voices even. Ed kinda has a breakdown not knowing what is happening, saying all he's ever wanted was to be a good son. And the more and more he tried, the further and further he got away from it. He just wanted to make her proud. So it all stems back to his mother, his whole being. The reason he is the way he is because of her. The psychiatrist tells Ed he is schizophrenic, that his brain works differently than a normal person, which we have seen throughout the series. Ed just can't tell what is real and what is fake. But the doctor tells Ed there is hope, that they can put him on this pill and the voices will stop. Ed takes the pill and hugs Roz. Roz hugs him back. Ed is just happy that the voices are gone and have finally stopped, and now he can rest. And that is the end of the episode. What did you think of it? Leave it down in the comments below. And if you want more monster content, please subscribe and like the video. Check out the Twitter link in the description below. And as always, have an awesome day.